Skyrath mid, right? Because Gunner definitely plays that. Clockwork mid, Enchantress carry. What? And then the hilarious part is this, to me, which is very unusual, looks like a actually very good lifestealer game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the last pick from Nouns, or sorry, from Quincy this game, the lifestealer for Yawar is very, very good. I think the majority of the matchups here are awesome. You're obviously picking it into Underlord, you're picking it into... I don't know if they knew this was going to be carry Enchantress, but as they know now, I think another great matchup to have your lifestealer in. You have the vehicle to get carried in by the Tiny or the Puck for the burst. And yeah. You know, I want to take this a little bit of a step back, almost to last season, because you remember what my gripe was with Nouns back then for Zoomers, right? It's like they had these standout games and they could take a game off a lot of the really strong teams but not close out the series. But
yep.
I had these games with that team where I just could not wrap my head around the draft. Like, I felt like sometimes it got too crazy, too creative, and most of the time when I felt that way and the game was played out, generally speaking, I think the required level of execution from those strategies were just so high that if anything went wrong, things were going to go south for them. That's how I feel this game when I look at these picks. I think, you know, I'm a huge fan of creativity. I'm a huge fan of trying different and new stuff. To me, this is just too wacky, okay? Like, I'm gonna praise them to the skies if they win this game, because that is a true testament to what you can do with this kind of creativity. But it can also just fall completely flat, because again, how does this lineup function if things go wrong at any point, right? Like, I just feel like the margin for error is very, very small in the Radiant strategy. Like
you said, very, very cool. I mean, we can talk about each lane for probably quite a while. Let's talk about this lane first. So it's Gunner on Clockwork mid, as we talked about, versus Quinn playing the very standard Puck.
Yeah.
I mean, Clockwork, like we talked about the other day, Battery Assault does more damage to creeps now, so this at least makes sense from like a farming perspective. He gets sticks fast, he can gank. Like, it makes sense as a mid-hero theoretically, but we never see it, and why is that?
I think it's not never picked, right? We've seen it from 9, I believe. Played it for a game for Tundra with success. I think historically speaking, the problem for Clockwork has been scaling, right? You couldn't keep up with the pace of other mid-heroes. With the Battery Assault change, you can do it a lot better. So I do think this definitely has a place as a way of playing the hero, not just mid. I think offlane Clockwork is a potential pick now more so than before. But even with all of that said, it's still part of the reason that it's not so popular, I think, is that the way Clock quote-unquote carries games is not very intuitive compared to a lot of other mid-heroes, right? Like, it's more straightforward to build a lineup and understand how that mid-hero will contribute to leading the team to victory. Mid-Clockwork is a lot more, I think, matchup dependent, a little more limited. But when you do overall first pick it, I believe Nouns did do that, right? Or did they pick it first phase at least? I think you have the option of flexing it, right?
Yeah.
Then you can wait and see the matchups if you like it mid or not. And I think that's the way to go about it. This hero is, a lot of teams are rating it very, very high, right? Especially in NA, I think, first pick.
Yeah, you have nice zoning capabilities with Cogs in addition to Pit. Obviously, the Skyrath Mage, Mystic Flare into Cogs. Like, there's a lot of things that work well with the hero in this lineup. And we'll see how it works out mid. In this lane, Costa Bile playing position 1 Enchantress, but in the off lane.
Yep.
Is this like just a specific matchup against Lifestealer, who doesn't really want to get rage that early?
I think more so they were trying to avoid Underlord laning against Lifestealer. I think that was the primary purpose of this. Ench does do pretty well against Lifestealer in lane, though. She's fast, she's nimble, she has good damage, so she can out-harass his sustain in the lane when she starts getting more levels and impetus. So, yeah, I think it's a good solution from Nouns to put their lanes like this. I think this was clever. Good pressure onto Fata here.
He is getting gone on. Rebound is there from Husky. And the Impetus doing so much damage. Fata with the cookie to buy him some space, and it will be enough for him to get away. And you can see Lifestealer just continuing to pound away at, I mean, like we said, good against Enchantress in general, especially once that Rage Untouchable kind of interaction comes to fruition, and then you're going up against 2 or 3 strength heroes on top of that. So it's really the big thing that he has to worry about, I think, is the silence from the Skyrath this game. And I don't know, how do you itemize against that as a
I think more often than not, Lifestealer will have a way of entering the fight where he's not susceptible to the Skywrath, actually. If he comes out of an Infest play, or if they are the ones initiating with, say, Coil and he just runs in, he will pre-pop Rage. The thing you need to be careful of is not casting it too late, like being too greedy, and then getting caught from Silence from the Fog, or getting hook shot into Silence. I think that is the dangerous part, is the Clock Sky combination. Sky itself I wouldn't consider as particularly awesome Lifestealer counter, actually. Because yeah, the Silence is good, but at the same time it's like glass half full, glass half empty kind of thing, where, well, when he's raged, you do literally nothing.
Yep, that's true. So it's all about the jump, I guess. And
yeah.
Yawar, rebound
damage
from Husky. Scatterblast is there onto 2. Costabile trying to keep Husky alive with the Nature's Attendants. Doing a pretty decent job, but Yawar getting blocked. No more right clicks from him, and Fata doesn't look like he'll be able to finish off Husky. Well, he's going to try to, though. Scatterblast just in range. Just on the edge there. So Fata with the first blood.
Yeah, he was clearly not expecting that Fata would reconnect with the wave there and get that. Might come at the cost of his own life.
Yes, it looks like it.
Managed to last second block the camp there. Nicely done. Actually very important when you're leaning against Ench to make sure this camp is inaccessible.
Yeah, Yawar forced to rage just to dodge that little impetus. Has to be a little bit careful here. And like you said, the beautiful thing about Lifestealer when he's actually good, which is somewhat rare, as the rebound comes into the dispose, and he's going to get cookied towards the tier 1 tower, but the impetus dodged by the rage.
I thought it was
just in time. And Yawar, well, Z-Freak's going to die in the bot lane while this is happening.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about this lane yet, since most of the action's been going on in the top half of the map, but I think Weaver Tiny is a very hard lane for Skywrath to play into. Skywrath usually, as a support in lane, wants to play offensively, wants to put pressure. The problem is if you're trying to pressure these two heroes, if you ever get Avalanche tossed with Swarm on you, you can just die from full to 0. Your hero is very frail.
Yeah, we have the coil, but the Cogs kind of... Oh!
Nice hook shot.
Hook shot to safety. Gunner is A-OK. Rotations did come as Husky looking for Quinn. Illusory Orb should be able to jaunt to it, but that double damage rune is denied by Z-Freak. So when you're playing a mid-Clockwork, well, I guess I'm going to answer this myself since he's already queued up a BKB, but what kind of items do you go for? I'm assuming Ags at some point, right? That feels like a core Clockwork type of build pretty much every game.
I think mid-Clock just has a lot of different options, actually. I understand the BKB being a valuable item this game. I don't know if I would go Brown Boots BKB, which is what he has queued up, like you said. I would imagine he might go something in between, but I think mid-Clock has the luxury of buying whatever the team needs, right? Because the primary purpose of the hero in the game is to be an initiator and isolating and starting fights against targets. So if it's a good game for you to do a lot of damage, you can go for a damage-oriented build, which Ags does very well. But if it's a game where you might want to, you know, offer more in the way of control or auras, you can definitely do that. This time around, you have an Underlord, so he's going to buy the auras if you need them. But yeah, I don't know. I could definitely see an item like Drum being valuable here. Drum into BKB, for example, or okay, he's gonna jump
hook
on
shot,
Fata.
Gunner. Finds Fata. Battery Assault with the dispose should be enough, as the cookie won't be able to get much distance there. As Quinn is in the area, has the coil, but just wants to take out these creeps, which might be contested here. They are kind of sticking around, Gunner is. With the help of Husky, Quinn has to be careful. Doesn't really have too much mana. Does take out that one stack, though.
Nice thing for Nouns there is that they get 2/3 of the experience, right? Because they have the majority of the heroes in the area. So even though they don't get the gold, they do take quite a bit away from Quinn.
And we're going to see a coil come in onto 2. Looks like Marcy's going to be the first to fall here, as Quinn able to get that haste rune. So Gunner is in a lot of trouble. And some damage being applied to Fata. Mu has come in with that Fiend's Gate. Won't be able to secure any kills for himself. Will have to back to that bot lane again. But, I mean, that's the cool thing about Underlord is you don't really have to... I mean, that's not a TP, right? So it's not a one-way trip. Gives you a lot of flexibility in trying to help out your teammates. Gunner gets his bottle refilled in the meantime. As we're going to see the rebound into the dispose. We've seen this many a time in this patch with Marcy just feeling kind of on another level versus other supports. Would you say that that's accurate?
I mean, she probably has the best early game catch, right? Obviously dependent on hero placement, you have to jump on an ally to find that connection, but yeah, her catch is more or less second to none in the early laning stage, but then I think compared to a lot of other supports, I actually feel like the hero kind of falls off, depending on the game. When played as a 5 like Husky is doing here, something that Marcy often falls victim to is that, yeah, you might get the jump in and toss someone back, but then what? Like, then you're a 5 Marcy in the middle of the enemy team, you just die. So it's kind of, a lot of the time in the mid-late game portions for 5 Marcies, you end up playing kind of Venge-like, where you're swapping in the enemy carry essentially, and then you die. Just that a lot of the time Venge will have something more to offer, right? Like damage mitigation when she swaps, or she has an aura. Marcy, obviously with that amazing third skill in the right situation, can make a big difference with the, wow, I actually forgot what that's called right now. That's very impressive. Sidekick. There you go. That's
right. That's the easy one to remember.
That's the hard one for me.
If you watch the anime, it's very easy to remember.
That's true.
Which you did not, apparently.
I did, but I forget things.
That's true.
All the time.
That is a very good point. Made that come. Okay,
good
we got
coil.
the coil onto 2. MSS is here. He gets Ancient Sealed, and you can see that Underlord has come to play with that Fiend's Gate, I do believe. MSS will live through the day, though, as Husky trying to limp away. The heals from Costabili. The toss in. Quinn gets the kill and gets away very easily. So Quinn, top net worth right now. I mean, we haven't really talked about the farm discrepancy, but him versus a Clockwork, it wasn't that big of a difference. It's like a 400 before that kill. I mean, if you're a gunner, is that kind of your goal to stay around this? Because you're not going to beat a puck, I would assume, in lane.
Yeah, you're not going to win. So yeah, if you can somewhat float evenly, I think that's fine. That's something you should be said about the clock against puck matchup. Like, puck kind of doesn't really lose to anyone in mid, right? If played properly. So you couldn't really have put a lane dominator mid and feel like, oh man, we picked clock instead of that. We could have really shut down that puck in lane. If you're trying to counter puck, it's more of like an on-game basis rather than in the lane. And they obviously have drafted the Skywrath Mage largely in order to do that. But so far have not found a kill on Quinn. And you'd imagine he wants to itemize against that too at some point, right? He's going to start off with the Witchblade that most people do. But then you can consider Yules here. I think it's a very good Yules game. Could go BKB if you wanted to.
Moo ends up breaking the smoke, but there's the coil. He's not able to enter his own Fiend's Gate. The toss back out, so the break of the coil. Moo will fall. Probably a little lucky not to lose more than that for Nouns.
Yeah, Gunner getting away there is actually pretty good. Like, given the circumstances, I thought they were both going to die, but this is the second time this game that he manages to hookshot away to safety while coiled, so yep, they only lose that one.
So again, Lifestealer not... I wouldn't put him on the same level as Troll Warlord in the carry department, but he's not far away, and I know where you probably know where I'm going with this. So it's really weird to say, but what answers do Nouns have against this hero? Because I feel like this is such a god-tier Lifestealer game. Like, can you itemize something against Lifestealer? Because it feels like none of those heroes do much at any stage of the game.
I mean, one thing you could do is you could go Orchid on Clock, right? But he's going the BKB. If you had an Orchid, then Clock can hookshot in and kind of solo kill him in the right position.
I mean, I assume Lifestealers go Satanic at some point anyway to dispel, right?
You're not gonna... I don't think any of these Radiant heroes will be able to solve Lifestealer on their own. Like, it's gonna be a team effort of kind of kiting him and then having the damage when Rage is over. Because in a mid-late game situation, you don't kill Lifestealer in Rage with these heroes. You just don't. Like, who's gonna kill him? Ench won't deal damage. The Marcy's a support. Your Underlord offlane doesn't deal any damage to him. Like, a bit of right-click, but it's just not gonna cut it. So that is part of the brilliance of this last pick, right? Is that there just isn't that tool. And what you have to do as
brilliant Lifestealer pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's
mark your calendars. Today is Lifestealer Day.
It's not very often you get to say that, right? But sometimes it's just a game for it.
Yeah, as you are. I believe he just finished his armlet, so has his Phase Boots armlet ready to go. And I mean, what kind of itemization would you like to see for him past this point?
I think Deso would be fine. You know, you're playing with the Weaver for more minus armor. You need to just deal serious damage when heroes are coiled. You want to get that burst kill when you jump out together with the Puck and Infest. So I think Deso Satanic sounds really good to me. Yeah, I think that's That would be the build I would suggest. I'm not much of a lifestealer player though.
Oh, I am.
A lot of the time when people buy items on the hero, I don't fully appreciate, I think, the intricacies of what you go.
I think, yeah, you're going to see Satanic after that, I agree.
Satanic
and then Nullifier, because somebody's going to get Ghost Scepter 100%. Yeah. I think it's actually kind of a very clear-cut build for Lifesteal this game.
The biggest question mark for me is if he will go Deso, if he will bypass that and has another plan.
Yeah, true. I'm interested to see if he goes Shard at some point as well. As Moo, it's going to get swarmed with that Spirit Vessel from Leslau. And you can see the kisses from way downtown. MSS not able to connect on the Avalanche, though.
Oops.
So Moo will survive.
That would have definitely been a kill if MSS would have waited.
Oh, Yawar gets tossed back in, and they kill Moo anyway, so...
They wanted to get the kill the stylish way.
Yeah, of course. Makes perfect sense. And look at the Tier 1 tower to boot. As Quinn pretty close to finishing his Blink Dagger. As Quincy crew on their way back to the enemy outpost. Obviously can't take it till they get that Tier 2. And looking at MSS's items, he's... wasn't sure if he was going to try to force a Blink Dagger right away, but because they are getting one on Quinn relatively early, he's just going for the Soul Ring on this support Tiny.
The guy you just had on your screen, by the way, very quiet game from Skywrath so far, right? Like, he's level 8. Have we seen Mystic Flare? I don't think we have. I think Z-Freak has... He's got 17 CS, so he hasn't really farmed. And he's gone for a Max Silence build, but they haven't really utilized it. This is a 15-minute game where a Skywrath Clock mid lineup has 3 kills. It's... Like, I'm already... I mean, you could tell when I was talking about the draft in general that I was concerned for the Radiant, but I'm even more concerned now because I feel like the one saving grace their lineup had was that they had that amazing potential early aggression.
Yeah.
If the execution was there. I just don't think they've managed to pair up the right heroes at the right place at the right time and get that value out of it. We haven't really seen the Clock Skywrath combo, for example, even attempted to kill Puck or kill Lifesteal.
I mean, I think we've only seen one hook shot on an enemy hero, right? We saw a second one for Creep Getaway, and my guess is perhaps they've been waiting for the BKB on Gunner, which was just picked up. Maybe that is... Like, every team has this, their mid players kind of dictate how the game is played in this early stage of the game, and there's, I don't want to fight without my first item, which in this case is BKB. He does have an Ags queued up next, so we'll see how that... Wait, how does the Ags work with... it doesn't refresh items at all, right? No. It's just the abilities.
Just your cooldowns on spells, yeah. So I can see that mindset for a mid player to have. The problem I have with that in this game is that I feel like you're not taking advantage of the heroes that you picked around the mid clock then. Like, if you're going to use the clock to farm BKB for 15 minutes, then why are your supports Skywrath Marcy? Like, why are they not something that scales better or wants to team fight when the clockwork comes on?
I can probably tell you why. Because they want to mess you up mentally in the draft, like literally, right? Because Skywrath, I mean, were you convinced that was a Gunner Skywrath at the 4th pick?
I literally had no idea what they were doing.
Okay, I was very convinced.
I actually still didn't have any idea what they were doing after last pick. So
even after they picked their heroes, you still have no idea.
I mean, I've watched 15 minutes and I still don't know what they're doing. So
they are down 2K. I mean, this is still within reach, of course.
It is.
The fact that he did go BKB means that they're definitely going to get a little bit more active now. So. Yeah, if they're able to pick it up.
If they're not going to put it to use immediately, I feel like they just totally missed the mark. Because for me, this is already kind of Plan B territory, where the super early aggression didn't work. Now they have the mid-game timing, that they have something with that Clockwork BKB. So if that also falls flat, it's just Quincy all over this game, I think. You really need some big payout here. Ideally, some sort of a team fight around the mid area where you hookshot a core, kill them off, and then get that mid tower with an inch creep, or with the siege creep you have now. Actually, this would be a wonderful time for them to look for a fight because they have the 15-minute timing.
Yeah.
But now it is actually going to be the case, and I think the siege creep mid will survive because it's being pushed out now by Moo. So if this hookshot mid bears fruit, this could look.
What kind of fruit you looking for, Cinder? Oh.
Fata scouting
the smoke broke, and then the courier saw Gunner. I don't even know what broke the smoke, though.
I think Fata might have just been in range.
Yeah.
And now they're going to try to brute force it, so they didn't get the pick they wanted.
Yeah. Rocket Flare still available for the scout, but nobody's really defending this tier 1 mid, so I think Nouns are going to be pretty happy just taking this without any contestation.
All right. I actually thought Quincy were going to try to fight for that.
Oh, hook shot misses from Gunner, and they're going to just have to reset now. So 1 minute of no ult.
Pros are owning.
It's still getting mid tower is a pretty nice consolation prize there. They would have liked to get a core kill plus tower, but the fact that they got to get it largely for free, I think, is pretty good news there for Nouns. Obviously, Quincy didn't really bring too many resources over there, so their cores are farming in the meantime.
Yep.
But yeah, they made the judgment call that was not a fight they were willing to take around mid with their lineup at that point. So they're giving up a little bit of ground, but they are also very much on the right track for their overall team composition's goals in the game. Tiny halfway to Dagger, you've got the Lifestealer and Puck at the top of the charts. Even Weaver, actually the position 3
that's one thing we haven't talked about.
is ahead of all 3 enemy cores, even going for a Vessel build. So this is not a farming build on Weaver. It's not a Maelstrom or something along those lines that he's gone for. He's gone for the utility items, and still, despite that, is ahead of all 3 enemy cores.
That is, yeah, not good news if you're a Nouns fan. Leslie, like you said, as we're going to see, there's the Mystic Flare with the Pit of Malice combo. So that's going to be a nice cleanup crew onto MSS. Of course, it's only the position 4. See if they can get a little bit more out of this. As the Dark Rift is there, but Quinn gets off the coil. Applying a little bit of pressure to move, but looks like he's going to be fine. Doesn't look like anybody can use the Dark... Did I say Dark Rift? It's Fiend's Gate now. They might as well just kept it as Dark Rift.
They could have kept it as Dark Rift. I actually think that would have still been a nice name for the spell.
Fiend's Gate is a better name, though, I will say.
They're both good.
Yeah.
I don't really have much of a favorite.
When you gave that idea to Ice Frog, did you include the name by any chance? I'm surprised you didn't go with Cinderin's Gate.
Oh, that would have been a really
hook shot,
name.
And this looks like a kill onto Fata. So you can see Nouns getting much more active now. But still, Quincy Crew, like you said, the farm is definitely in their favor. And I mean, you were talking about Leslie with his Spirit Vessel. He has the Force Staff, which obviously amazing against Clockwork. And he's going to be going for an Aghanim Scepter, which, if you're going to get it that early, is going to have potentially huge impact on this game, especially with like the burst damage that Nouns are able to work with.
Yeah, the Force Staff is just amazing, right? It's not just the Clockwork, it's also Pit of Malice. It's against the Skywrath combination. When he gets Atos, you can just save people out of Atos plus Mystic Flare Sounds combo. And I wanted to highlight, we're talking about this 3k gold lead. I think it's really important to look at it in this game from the perspective of, if this is a 3k gold lead in 10 minutes, I think the Dire has like 90% chance of winning the game. Like, it's just, from my perspective, them being ahead on gold is a very big lead. They could have been behind on gold and still been ahead in the game, just from a game plan perspective. So don't be fooled. Like 3k minute 20 generally isn't that big of a deal, but I think Quincy are very far ahead in this game.
Now, how much of this comes down to your opinion on Clockwork as a mid hero? You just need to kind of be ahead at this point. Is that relatively fair?
It's not about one hero. Like if there was a mid Clock and the rest of the lineup was more quote unquote standard scaling, that would be fine, right? But they've gone for a carry Ench, who I consider pretty countered in this game as a core as well. And their supports, I think, will fall off too in the matchups that they have. So there's just, and I know I'm being pretty pessimistic about this in the late game, but I think sometimes that is just how the game is, and it will make it twice as incredible or impressive rather for me if Nouns manage to convert this into a win. They will find another Fata kill.
Yep. And Fata, I think,
something.
Yeah, we'll be very happy with tanking yet another gank. Because the rest of his team is able to farm. MSS, the position 4 Tiny, finishes his Blink Dagger. You can see Yawar with the Desolator. So things still looking very good for Quincy Crew. And the question is, what can Nouns do to kind of tip this in their favor? I mean, when it comes to Roshan, both teams can do it, but it's not going to be the fastest in the world for Nouns, especially.
Quincy are pretty decent, right? They've got the Swarm, Deso, Lifestealer.
That's true.
I guess
and little Shredder as well.
Snap has 1 point in Shredder, so not the best, but... oh, well, it's still the same minus armor, but it's just the duration rate, or the cooldown. You can't have it up more than once. Okay, hang on. Gunner has to use the haste train to run away. I think maybe a way I can explain this that makes it... that's very relatable to a lot of players will be, you know how there was like this 2-year period where if Spectre was even, you were just gonna win at some point, right?
Yeah.
It just felt like that.
Oh.
That's the vibe I'm getting in this game. It's kind of like those games where, yeah, sure, there's
bomb.
no Spectre, but...
MSS, the Avatos with the Infest, but Costa with a quick BKB. Mortimer's Kiss is completely canceled by Gunner. Scatterblast actually misses as well, as Quinn takes so much damage from that Mystic Flare. Phase shifts, trying to get off the Illusory Orb, but he is disposed and brought down. So big kill from Nouns. Cost them a couple of BKBs, but they'll take that, as when it comes to net worth, basically evens up the game now, just with that one kill.
Yeah, that was very, very important for them. I think Laslau was not in position there to force staff the puck, and Quinn didn't have a way out of it on his own there. Has opted to go for a pretty offensive item build, right? He's got Witchblade, Dagger, and he's going Lincolns, so no Yules to counteract these combinations. No status resist against the stuns and the roots. Could have gone... I think Kaya Sanch would have also been meaningful in this game. So yeah, they took advantage of that there with a nice pick, and they got the bot tower, so... All right, Nouns.
Yeah, they get the Scatter Blast into the Avalanche, but Moo has reinforcements. We'll see if that's enough. And yeah, they take out MSS pretty quickly. As Moo with that Spirit Vessel applied, looks like he's going to be just fine. So Quincy crew losing another member. As Nouns starting to kind of show up with this draft. And Gunner getting pretty close to this Agnum Scepter. 850 away, as now another BKB comes online, this time for Moo on the Underlord. Who, I mean, that goes in addition to the Atos that he's had for quite a while now.
Yeah. This is definitely, this is prime time for Nouns' lineup with these triple BKBs. You really want to try to expand on what you just found bottom lane. You want to get more of those fights. You want to keep putting them under pressure and keep the momentum going, keep the pace high. Gaben has gone from considering a 78% favorite for the Dire to now only 60, so, you know, quite a swing. Yep. It is still... I still think I would consider it comfortable for Quincy, but if Nouns can find another fight like the one they just did and turn into Tier 2, or maybe a Roche, that's when things can get really interesting. Quinn will break that and get out.
MSS is smoked up, and with Yawar inside him, so looking for another Avalanche Toss Infest combo.
I think they would love to find Skywrath. I think that's the best target for them to find first. Take out that utility, burst out that damage-dealing hero, and then follow up afterwards. I think it can be dangerous for them to just jump and try to kill Ench like they did bottom. If she gets off BKB in her heal and doesn't die, it's a lot of resources expended for no meaningful gain. I think you're much better off just trying to assassinate a support first. And Skywrath is definitely the #1 prio on that list. Every other hero is either too tanky or can get saved. They have the BKBs, they could get Marcy tossed, Glimmered.
Fata cookies to the other side of the trees as Yawar sick and tired of being inside of MSS, but Fata's going to be the focus right now for Nouns. To dispose, gets the stun onto Leslau, and that'll be the first kill in favor of Nouns, but it's evened up 1 for 1. As the toss all the way back as a coil, only onto a couple of heroes who are kind of separated from Moo right now, but Moo able to waddle his way back in the arms of his teammates at half HP. Don't think Quincy Crew have much to follow this up with at the moment. So, in fact, both teams will back.
What was that? No BKBs expended on Nouns there, so they trade effectively their 4 for the enemy 5 with Sky and Snapfire dying. And I think Quincy were probably hoping for a better outcome than that, right? They assassinated the Skywrath first, which is the dream start to the fight. And even with Fatsa getting caught off on the side, they did have the reinforcements to try to turn that into something more, but Nouns did a good job resetting away and not giving up extra free kills.
But Nouns, of course, can be kind of all over the place at any time because of this Fiend's Gate. They go refresh really quickly and end up taking control of the enemy jungle again. And now into the Roche Pit they go, as Hurricane Pike now online for Costa Bile. We'll see how big of an impact this has, and that aligns with the Clockwork Aghanim Scepter. So
this is such a pitiful Roche kill. Oh my god.
Well, Roche can't do anything about it, though. It's like the slowest death. This is death by a million paper cuts.
Yeah. Well, he will die. Their lineup definitely showing that it's not particularly good at this task, but Husky with the old Clockwork with the buff to Battery Assault, so deals double damage to Roche, and ultimately they do get the job done. So we'll put the Aegis on the Ench.
Yep.
I thought maybe this one was actually going to go on the Clockwork so that Gunner could initiate with confidence, die, and then come back with the Ags on his second life. But they will put it on Costabile for that extra protection. I don't think he's going to be the target regardless, though. It feels a little bit... I'm not sold on this choice to put it on him. I don't think Quincy will want to try to kill him early in the fights anyway, currently.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Well, Lelis just finished his Aghanim Scepter. Has not been delivered yet, but we'll see. I mean, we've had games where position... I mean, this is a position 3, so he's getting it way faster, but as we're going to see the hook shot in the bot lane, so Fata, that overclock used for the double hook shot, in fact. And Fata gets off the cookie, but still continuing to get pursued. But there's the overclock stun. But Costabile able to finish off Fata in the end. Of course, a lot of members of Nouns have come.
I think Fata's a little bit laughing to himself there. That took them 15 seconds with 4 heroes to kill the 5-snap bottom. That's not the greatest gank ever from Nouns. I think Gunnar probably could have played that a little bit better. His initial hook shot, he refreshed it really fast with the overclock and went for the second one, but didn't really get too much value out of the cogs. Like maybe he could have knocked back the Snapfire to ward his own tier 2 tower, and just Fata would not have had an escape path for that long. But they got the job done in the end, but I think effectively a net worth loss, just given how much space Quincy got on the map in the meantime.
2K lead for Quincy crew. Aegis still another 3 minutes to go on Costabile's Enchantress as a BKB picked up. Okay, I was way off on this one, Cinderin.
Really? Yeah, I don't know.
By Yawar.
I was
My goodness.
I was a fan of the Satanic here. This is obviously another good solution to the Skywrath problem. It also gives him a lot of extra protection against, say, Marcy. Like, let's say you come out of an Infest Bomb and you use Rage right away. You bridge the gap until your next Rage, or at least a big part of it, with this BKB, and you can stay and maintain that output in the fight. Also, compared to the Satanic, it also allows him to stay on the Ench a lot longer. Maybe that's part of the consideration here, is like, shit, yeah, if I go Satanic, I might survive, but I can't really hit the enemy carry outside of Rage. But now with this, you have that added pressure.
Yeah, I think it indicates to them that they just feel confident they have enough damage.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're giving up, right? You're giving up damage for the most part. It's just pure survivability. And Mu now pressuring the top tier 2.
Well, I think BKB compared to Satanic is pretty much comparable in damage, right? Per gold.
Damage per gold, well, sure.
Yeah. Nah, you're right. Satanic is still better damage per gold. By quite a bit, actually. So I take that back.
Okay.
You get it. You got lucky this time.
Thank you. As we have the Mystic Flare, Yawar actually using the BKB inside the cogs now. Lesdal, oh, he's looking for the Force Staff, but it's not going to come. There's a big hook shot from Gunnar, keeping Yawar inside those cogs. A little bit of misplay here from Quincy crew as they lose their position 1. Not even sure what happened there. Definitely a weird play overall.
Yeah, so Leslau was trying to come in for the time-lapse Force Staff, I think, but he ended up only being able to time-lapse and then Force Staffing himself. Okay, Moo's gonna BKB TP out here from away from Quinn, expecting reinforcements to arrive, and there was a Tiny in the vicinity, so... Yeah, that was... You're right, that was just a little bit weird how that all played out. I thought maybe there was a way for Weaver to save, but let's have a look here. So he greeds this tower with the BKB.
Yeah.
Then he rages on top of his BKB.
Yeah, that's...
So that is definitely a big mistake here from Yawar to use Rage there.
I mean, that's muscle memory. 100% muscle
and
memory.
Now he gets... So now he's hook shot, and now they can time-lapse him here. Well, they already did. He could have Force-Staffed him here, but I actually think Lelis making the right choice here to just get the hell out of there. I think if he tries to Force-Staff Yawar, he puts himself at risk, and Yawar didn't have either of his immunities available. So, yeah, just flat out a misplay there from the carry. Pretty expensive to get killed off there, even if you get that tower trade. Gunnar.
Quinn, able to get the regen rune. Gunnar now has his shard, so... can jetpack anywhere he wants. But yeah, the life stealer thing, that is 100% muscle memory. I've been there personally many a time. Just used to hitting the Q button when you're in trouble. And BKB, I'm sure that even for Yawar, he buys that a very small percentage of the time. A hook shot from Gunnar, but the Mystic Flare is dodged by the Force Staff. The Infestbound comes in via MSS. The Freak is dead. Husky looks to be potentially next, but they can't find him in the tree line. Yawar continue to pressure Mu. Again, Lifestealer against these strengthy heroes, very juicy. Pops that BKB now. There's the coil. It breaks. Moo is dead. So 2 for 1. And again, Quincy Crew, the only hero that they've lost is their support, Fata Snapfire. Gunner gets off the cogs, but is shortly brought down. So a nice fight from Quincy Crew. I think that was basically set up by the MSS counter initiation with the Infest Bomb.
Middle tower has fallen.
They managed to find both supports in the same avalanche. They end up not killing Husky, but he gets forced out of the fight very early on that. Marcian isn't able to help very much. Also, Moo suffers in this fight from not having the BKB that was forced top earlier by Puck. The nerf to BKB there I actually think made the difference in that extra cooldown. So made him targetable by the Lifestealer, and they managed to take out Moo there as well with ending it off with the coil.
As it looks like Yawar is focusing on getting a basher for himself, and I feel like this is actually a really good... Actually, no, there's a bunch of BKBs in there. I was going to say the shard is quite good in theory, but not against BKB. You know, the way it works, percentage-based damage with like just little shredder, even if it's a support little shredder, that's crazy amount of damage actually.
That's true.
And against strength heroes especially, so... But you'd have to wait out the BKB. So actually might be a really good thing late game. If they get to that point, of course, once the BKBs are lowered.
I think there's also something good to be said about Scotty here instead of Basher. I think both items are good for different reasons, right? The Scotty, you're playing against some of these heroes that are actually moving quite a lot in the fight, so having that slow against heroes that get jumped on by rebound or having the healing reduction against Ench. Having the, just... Also, the extra tankiness could be nice, but I think the Basher offers more in the way of just that very early, quick burst kill mentality. So, I think both items have their merits, and he will opt for the Basher. Okay, so Nouns, time for a big move here. 5-man smoke. In the meantime, their bottom lane is forced all the way into base, so this is starting to become pretty telegraphed.
MSS, he's infested.
He's a tough kill. He has 3,600 health, 20 armor, and a Force Staff.
He's tiny.
Yep. Hook shot.
Hook shot onto... looks like it's onto Quinn, and they actually set it up nicely with the Mystic Flare, so good pickoff for Nouns.
Yeah, that's something that Clockwork with Ags does really well, is assassinate heroes like Puck if they don't itemize against it. You're going to see Quinn now get the Kaya Sanch for the status assist. He is still susceptible to dying to Clock plus Sky with that overclocking.
Yeah.
If he gets 2 hook shots and the Sky ult with the Ancient Seal on, that can be a kill. And they can break that Linken's reliably every single time by just Atosing first. You're not going to need to keep the Puck in place. Clockwork is easily going to take care of that for you, so nicely done there to find Quinn down in that bot area. And I was wondering if he was going to consider Aeon Disc now as a possibility. It doesn't seem to be the case. He's going for Octarine, so sticking to the standard meta build.
And you can see with that kill, Costabile now top net worth in the game as an Enchantress, and I haven't really gotten to experience the late game Enchantress as much as Effie, for example, was very excited to see it.
Yeah.
But how well does this hero...
This is how you play carry Ench. You get Sprink, and that is the one thing Costabile is not getting in this game. So.
Not yet. Well, he's waiting for that Roche, of course. His Fata inside.
Good Force Staff.
Yeah, he's going to get Force Staff to safety again as the Swarm comes in and hits several heroes. As Nouns, okay, toss back. Husky looks to be the sacrifice. Noir with that rage and just beats the crap out of Marcy, and that should be the end of this fight for now.
It's just so good against this Radiant lineup. Like, they try to initiate there. You force that Fata away with the Tiny, and then he force staffs himself away. And Marcy having Marcy syndrome there, which is, I jumped in, now I must die. And unsurprisingly ended up happening. Cookie has Force Staff again if needed.
Yeah, I heard an Infest. It's inside MSS again. You're right. They have 3 Force Staffs on Quincy Crew, so a lot to work with. A BKB on Fata. What?
Wait, huh?
What? What in the world? Okay, we'll have to talk about that in just a moment. Is Leslau?
Well, it's a way of guaranteeing his ult,
out.
I guess. Now he can't really... Well, he can still get hookshot, but he can't get stopped by the Skywrath or the Underlord. But yeah, this is very unusual.
I'm surprised he's even being able to afford it, considering he's ganked he's tanked every gank. Feels like this game.
He has 125 CS though, as a 5.
That's all you need, yeah. That's good
Snapfire is very good at farming in the downtime, and this has been a game with a lot of...
Quinn breaks the smoke to kill the courier. So now, Nouns no. This is a 6k lead for Quincy Crew as Roche number 2 is up with the shard. And now Nouns are showing in the mid lane. They've kind of swapped places here. As I do want to talk about Enchantress a little bit, but once we start talking about it, a fight will likely ensue. How well does this hero scale, would you say? Like, as a position 1?
Pretty well, depending on the matchups. That's again why Lifestealer is such a good hero in this game. If the core matchup, if you were against, like, say, Carry Tiny, for example, I think you would like your odds a lot better. Ench does very well against these late game tankier heroes that who benefit a lot, in particular from their armor, because she just doesn't care. When BKB runs out, she does pure damage with every attack and scales really well. So that part of the damage is very meaningful. But against Lifestealer with a BKB, the amount of time that you actually get to use this is just takes so long in the fight before you really get to deal.
So a very unusual item for Gunnar, but extremely smart, is the Nullifier, which he's working on to counter all these Force Staffs. So
yeah,
whoever's inside the cogs, although he does have a talent. Actually, what did he take on Clockwork? So you have to get 20.
He isn't there yet, yeah.
So the leash inside the power cogs, I wonder if he's going to take that or not.
You can still get Force Staffed, right? So it doesn't really
that's true.
solve that. So I think
and you are against a Weaver, so maybe the Rocket Flare talent might be better. We'll see.
You're definitely still taking the leash just for the off chance that it matters in a fight. But yeah, it's not the best game for that talent, but the other one just isn't really that great here either. It's mainly going to be for dewarding purposes, which is very nice in the right situation, but it's not like...
It feels more like a support Clockwork talent if you're able to get 20 at some point. For the mid, it feels like...
Mostly.
All right, Quincy crew forcing out that fortification from Nouns side in this tier 2 mid. As Satanic is next for Yawar. Going a little bit of a detour before eventually going for that item. And I mean, how fast can... I mean, we talked about it. I feel like they can do Roche extremely fast, but in terms of the Roche fight...
Oh, they cannot let this happen, Nouns. They have to.
Yeah, they know. They got the Rocket Flare in there. And they're starting to make their way over. And yeah, Roche is not falling that fast, mainly because Yawar's not in the pit.
Their Roche killer that makes this fast was not involved in the kill just yet. They might infest here now, though.
And more D-ward action. There's the hook shot from Gunnar. And he's just going to jetpack out. And the Force Staff for Fata kind of reset. And I mean, that's the beauty of having a Clockwork on the team. The Rocket Flare just constant scouting in this Roche pit. But Yawar, happy to show himself in there with that ridiculous minus armor between the Little Shredder, Swarm, and Deso from Yawar. So go down really fast. Gunnar gets the overclock off. There's a hook shot, but the Aegis is taken by Yawar, so Gunnar with the BKB might just have to back, focusing on Fata, but he's going to get stunned by that overclock. The coil onto one, the toss back, a big break, and now Yawar just beating on everybody. Finally, Costabile able to pop that BKB. Buyback now onto Gunnar, as Yawar focusing on the support Marcy. He'll find her relatively easily. And now Skywrath Mage on the other side of the river, as Quinn and company should be able to finish off Z-Freak. So double kill for Quinn, a nice dodge on the Avalanche by Moo with that timely BKB. And I believe Nouns are just now starting to back away. So not able to get anything from Roche. I believe the shard was also taken by Quincy crew. Yeah, it looks like Yawar ends up taking it. So we do see the open wounds.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
I guess an indirect buff to this shard is the fact that BKB got nerfed this patch, right? So the enemy heroes will have a longer cooldown in between, and that's when the open wounds can become really powerful. Inherently, like, in theory, it is an insane ability, right? It's just that...
Yeah, we got the Avatos. Infest Bomb, that's a dieback onto Husky. And Underlord, Mr. Moo himself, will find his way to the grave as well. No buyback on either of them. 13k lead for Quincy Crew. So this second Roche kind of ballooned their lead, over doubling it, I believe.
Yeah, this is looking grim now for Nouns, and you feel like in that last fight that you saw, Fata is just such an attention sponge in that fight, right? Like, it took so long to kill him. He got off the Force Staff, he got off the BKB, he cookied away, he got off all his spells except a good ult, and it took them like 10 seconds to kill him. In the meantime, other heroes, their BKBs expire, they become susceptible to getting killed off. And okay.
Oh, yeah, very nice burst
wow.
onto Yawar. He's getting extremely low. Obviously, he has the Aegis, but if he gets the Infest off, which he will, if he really wants to, doesn't need to though. The lifesteal is there, still has open wounds to work with. His gunner has to overclock to be able to get to the other side in his base. And Yawar back inside MSS where he likes to be. MSS with the blink, avalanche, Costa Bile with the BKB. And Yawar, okay, the hook shot. Does connect, but Yawar with the open wounds, and look how fast Gunner gets shredded now. And he drops to the right click of Quinn as Mortimer's kisses being channeled. Not enough to take out Costa Bile, but Quincy crew can just start hitting buildings now.
Yeah, like you said, Aegis not expended there is very important because that makes this super safe. I believe...
Oh, Avalanche looking for the toss, but Moo with the BKB, and MSS completely punished there. And still the Aegis with a decent amount of time left, so we'll see if Quincy wants to continue or not. Looks like Yawar just kind of wants to die almost. As the coil onto Moo, this will be a big kill because he won't be able to buy back. 80 seconds on the deck, Aegis now expended, so they can continue to hit the buildings relatively safely with these 2 siege creeps in tow.
Lifesteal at 25. Let's see which talent he took.
Oh, wow. Shocker.
Oh, he took the rage duration.
Wow.
That is unbelievable. Let's see what the pick rate is for that compared to the other talent and the win rates.
Yeah.
That is absolutely shocking. A 93% pick rate on the left talent.
So misclick 7% of the time.
Pretty much. I think
see.
Either that or people misread it and thought it also did damage.
Which...
It should.
Yeah, it should. Even if it did, I don't think that would be good enough.
No, probably not.
What if open wounds was the 25 talent? Is that too good? I mean, 25 talents are crazy, and even the rage one isn't that good. It's good.
Yeah, but then you need to come up with a new shard for Lifestealer, and that's going to be a real challenge.
No, you just give him the skill from Han, Predator. You have a leap ability. Easy.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's the thing we're missing in Dota. More mobility. That would be great.
I mean, of all the heroes, Lifestealer needs it. Instead of putting on a new hero, just put it on Lifestealer.
See, that's what they said with Zeus, but...
I like Zeus the way he is now.
Yeah.
It's nice. Unless you're playing against it, of course. So 2 sets of racks for Quincy crew. No Aegis anymore. Roche won't be up for quite a while, so we'll see if they want to kind of push the envelope. But obviously you know that they have a massive, massive lead. And unfortunately for Nouns, as they smoke up, just weren't able to really take advantage of the mid-clock. And I feel like the Enchantress carry, despite being so farmed, hasn't felt as impactful as I was expecting. But just part of it is because of the lineup they're going against.
Yeah, that's one of the puzzling things about putting it carry here, is that it almost feels brute forced rather than it being a meaningful choice. It's not very good against Lifestealer. I don't think Ench carry is very good against Weaver. You're not going to reliably deal damage to Puck. So what's the...
It's just Tiny that is a position 4.
Yeah, so what's the case?
Oh my.
That is... The BKB works still.
I think that's just a golden cosmetic, right? Yeah, that's what we'll go with. New Immortal coming.
Excited to get his AC. It was time to shine. And now it's time to chill for a minute and a half.
You know what I miss with BKB in Dota 1 is the sound effect. You remember what that was?
For Cosmodon.
Cosmodon! Yeah, that was good stuff. The Quincy crew smoked up.
Do you know where that sound was from?
In Warcraft 3.
Yeah, do you know where it was from in Warcraft 3?
The Zeus guy.
Yes, the Mountain King.
Mountain King, yes.
The Zeus.
Well, whatever Zeus's model was.
Yeah.
Because that's what I think of every time.
Avatar.
Dude, I love that model because it looks so fierce, but it's just this tiny little guy.
I also just loved that hero in Warcraft, the Mountain King in regular Warcraft.
No, yeah, I agree.
Super
that was really good. MSS taking out a wave and showing himself there as Laszlo gets off a swarm onto 3 heroes. Hookshot misses from Gunner. There's the coil to follow from Quinn as Yawar gets cookied in. Down goes Skywrath Mage. Gunner trying to get sight of this Fiend's Gate, but the bash is there as Moo trying to save his teammates, but it's really to no avail. Yawar with the actual BKB now and the open wounds as Gunner's already popped that overclock, so he's going to get stunned relatively shortly, but he's made his way to his base. Costa Bile, though, bursted down. And he's going to have to buy back into the game, but this is going to be a tough, tough defense as they're not able to take out even one hero in this engagement from Quincy Crew's side.
All right, can I just say quickly, these Mason voice lines, they're funny like the first couple of times, but if they get spammed like this, they get really obnoxious.
That makes them good, though.
Yeah, but come on, they're muted already, let's be honest. There is...
Yeah, Quinn, I'm pretty sure, mutes everybody. Right?
Yeah, well, yeah, he probably mutes his own teammates as well, but I think Nouns have muted Quinn, all of Quinn's crew with
he
those.
probably does. I mean, there's okay, we're going to see the hook shot, Gunner, but really it's Yawar just bursting down Z-Freak. Lella's getting pretty low, gets off the time lapse, gets a lot of the HP back as a result. Gunner now jetpacking to safety, but the focus is on MSS, so Costa Bile starting to do a lot of damage now. And Fata, they're not going to be able to find the distance here because of the coil. Double buyback from Quincy. They want to finish this game right now. Yawar rages up, open wounds. Can't really do too much to Costa Bile without having that BKB. But they do find Mu in the end. 84 seconds on the deck, but does have his buyback. And Quincy crew, they look to be brute forcing this. But no Skywrath Mage, so at the very least it's going to be 5v4 if the buyback comes on Mu.
It has to. How long are you going to wait for that? All right, there we go.
Yep, Yawar. He does not have mana to infest right now, and he's going to get hook shot. There are 4 stabs. They're going to pop the BKB, just trying to get these mega creeps as the toss comes in. Lelis actually gets off the time lapse, so a good amount of HP back. Fortifications there, Yawar trying to get some HP back thanks to the open wounds. That's going to be a dieback onto Mu. They get the mega creeps as well. Husky looks to be next as the coil, keeping the rest of Nouns in place as GG should come out any moment, and they do. So game 1 goes to Quincy crew. Nouns with a very unusual, and I love to see it personally. I know you're not a huge fan. It didn't work out this time, but at least going outside the box.
Oh, I'm always a fan of creative strategies. I just didn't believe they were going to win.